and then we're going to follow with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Would you please stand with us for our invocation? Our most gracious Heavenly Father and Almighty God, we come before you this evening recognizing that we're indeed a blessed people. We're blessed to be a part of the greatest nation on earth, the United States of America, one nation under God. We're blessed to be a resident of this great state of Texas. We're blessed to have the freedom to assemble together, to express our concerns and share our views on the issues that govern us day by day, and realizing this freedom comes with a great cost, and being so grateful for the ones who have paid and are paying the price. We're blessed to have the invitation to partake of your glorious salvation, provided by the sacrifice of your only begotten Son, the Lord Jesus Christ, on the cross of Calvary, the Savior of whosoever will. For all these things and many more, we come to you tonight with thankful hearts. Father, would you bless our time together this evening and throughout the campaign? In the days to come, Lord, would you bless every candidate seeking office. Bless them with protection. Bless them with courage. Bless them with provision, wisdom, discernment, and freedom of thought. We ask all of these things in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ, and for his precious sake we pray. Amen. Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Brother Mike. Can everybody hear okay in the back? Good. First of all, I'd like to welcome you on behalf of the Strawn Chamber of Commerce to our meet and greet. My name is Tina Spakes. We hope that this meeting will help you to make your voting choice. We want to give a special thank you to Susan Hurley for generously providing the Strawn Lexington tonight for our event. We're going to give each candidate 2 minutes to speak, and we're going to start with the office of the district attorney. So I'll go ahead and read the job description, and then I'll call the candidates up. What does a district attorney do in Texas? A district attorney in Texas has the following duties: represents the state in prosecuting felony criminal cases, works with law enforcement officers in the investigation of criminal cases, presents cases to the grand jury, represents victims of violence and protective orders, and represents the state in removing children from abusive households. Tonight's candidates are Kristina Massey and Burnett. Kristina, if you want to take the floor.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I want to first off thank all of you for coming out and taking this election seriously. It's very, very important to get to know your candidates. My name is Kristina Massey, and I'm running for district attorney. My entire adult life has been spent dealing with criminal justice. I got a bachelor's degree in criminal justice, a master's in applied criminology, and then I went on to law school and got my JD, and am licensed as an attorney and have been for 11 years. I spent 5 years as your assistant district attorney here in Palo Pinto, so I know this county very well. Prior to becoming an attorney, I was a police dispatcher, so I know how the police department works and how to deal with the police department. And I also was a probation officer, where I learned how to deal with the other side of it, which is a continuation of the DA's office, because when someone's put on probation, and they mess up their probation. They come back to us. So I spent my time, a lot of my time as a probation officer dealing with drug addicts. That was my caseload. I know how to deal with them. I know what's needed. If you don't give them treatment from the very beginning, it's just going to be a rotating door. But if they continue and continue, then your only choice is to lock them up and get them out of the community. And as far as drug dealers go, you need them out. But most importantly, we need to run our office professionally. We need to be going to trial and getting cases moved so that people aren't sitting in jail. And we need to deal with our mentally ill people in appropriate ways. And so I do have the experience, I do have the knowledge. I am a homeowner in Palo Pinto County, and I would absolutely appreciate your vote for district attorney. Thank you.
Kristie?
Good evening. My name is Kristie Burnett, and I'm your elected district attorney for Palo Pinto County, and I'm honored to serve in that capacity. When I ran for this office in 2016, I got a very strong mandate from the voters at that time that you were tired of the revolving door of felonies and felon offenders in this county. I can tell you that in the 3 years since I took office, from January 1st of 2017 through December 31st of 2019, my office handled more than 2,800 felony cases. That's compared to the previous 4 years where they handled right out 2,500 in 4 years. We did over 2,800 in 3 years. We did put a stop to that revolving door of felony offenders by sending over 478 offenders to prison and over 223 offenders to state jail. I will tell you that the majority of those offenders were people who had prior felony convictions and were not eligible for probation, and yet they had received probation previously from the previous administration of which my opponent was a part. We can compare that to the 4 years prior to me when there was only 164 offenders sent to prison and 161 sent to state jail. So I believe we have done our best to carry out the promise that I made to you in 2016 to stop that revolving door, and I'm asking for the opportunity to continue serving as your district attorney. Early voting starts tomorrow, February 18th, and goes through February 28th. And then we have Election Day on March the 3rd, and I'm asking for your vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have our county attorney. What does a county attorney do in Texas? County attorney has the following duties. It represents the state in prosecuting misdemeanor criminal cases, works with law enforcement officers investigating of criminal cases, provides legal advice to the commissioner's court and to other elected officials, and brings civil enforcement actions on behalf of the state or the county. Our candidates would be Cynthia, Dillard, Ince, and Maegan Kostiha. Ms. Cynthia?
Good afternoon, and thank you all so much for being here this afternoon. I know there's probably at least 10 or 12 other things you'd rather be doing, but you guys are an integral part of the electoral process. If y'all aren't here, if you're not learning about the candidates, then you're voting without knowing anything. My name is Cindy Dillard Ince. I'm 60 years old. I've been practicing law for almost 30 years. I have spent a lot of time doing criminal prosecution as a Class C misdemeanor prosecutor for cities down near McLennan County. I started my legal career at Legal Aid, prosecuting and handling a bunch of protective order cases. I have handled a ton of CPS cases. I have handled criminal cases both as a prosecutor and as a defense attorney. I grew up in Palo Pinto County on River, went to Mineral Wells High School, went to Weatherford Junior College. I started working as a police dispatcher, decided I was going to get my degree in criminal justice. I was fortunate to get to do an internship with Buddy Byers' office back when he was JP in Mineral Wells. I then went to law school. I did an internship with the McLennan County DA's office. I have a lot of experience. I'm asking for your prayers. I'm asking for your support. And I'm asking for y'all to get out there and vote. Not just early voting and on March 3rd, but also in November. And in November, we're not going to have a straight ticket ballot. You're going to have to vote all the way down that ballot. Thank you guys and have a great evening.
Ms. Maegan?
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Maegan Kostiha. I was appointed as county attorney in May by the Commissioners Court, and I've been working the last 8 months to improve efficiency and effectiveness in the county attorney's office. As most of you know, I am a Strawn Greyhound. I went to Strawn ISD, and then I went to undergrad at TCU, and then later went to Texas A&M School of Law. The last 8 months, I have implemented many new things in the county attorney office to improve efficiency, and I'm hoping to continue those improvements in the next 4 years. But I am pretty certain that I know most of you in this room tonight, so I'm going to use my time to thank some very special people to me from Strawn, Mingus, and Gordon. I am very, very grateful to have grown up in Strawn. I learned so many invaluable tools and lessons growing up here. I learned how to work hard, I learned to be a team player, and I learned to be loyal. I also learned the value of friendships, family, and to be kind to one another. And it has been such a blessing that I now get to see my kids also learn those same lessons growing up here. When I married my husband Jim, who's a Gordon Longhorn, his huge family also became my family, and the Gordon community became my family as well. So I want to give a super big thank you to all of those who have helped shape me along the way and have supported me. It is such a great blessing to Jim and I to have such a huge group of cheerleaders supporting our kids day in and day out. So thank you to all of you, and a super big thank you to my parents and my in-laws, who are very much the best. I ask for your continued support and your prayers over the next 2 weeks, and I ask for your vote. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. So our next candidates will be for district clerk. District clerk, what does district clerk do in Texas? Serves as clerk and custodian of all records for the district courts, indexes and secures all court records, collecting filing fees and handling funds held in litigation and money awarded to minors, coordinates the jury panel selection process, may process passport applications, and manages court registry funds. So our candidates for for district clerk, Jonna Banks, Stacy Frye, and Sherry Roberson. We're going to start with Stacy Frye.
Good evening. My name is Stacy Frye, and I appreciate you coming out this evening on a beautiful day. This is the best day ever. I am Stacy Frye. I'm Palo Pinto County resident the majority of my life. My daughter, Mackenzie, graduated from Gordon, so we are a Gordon Longhorn as well. Very proud to be a Longhorn. I come with experience to this office working from 2003 to 2011, enjoying working with Helen and the Janie Glover that retired shortly. I come with 8 years experience to this office. I believe that this office needs to have confidentiality, integrity, and 100% leadership. I'm currently a 911 communicator for the city of Mineral Wells, so I believe that with the work experience I have and with what I do now gives me the full background from the start to finish to do a great job for the district clerk's office. I would appreciate your vote come tomorrow for early voting through the next 10 days, and then of course on March 3rd. I appreciate everyone coming out and taking the time out, and I would appreciate your vote for the upcoming election. Thank you.
Sherry?
Good evening, I'm Sherry Roberson. I am the appointed district clerk. I would like to thank the Chamber of Strawn for hosting this meet and greet tonight. And I'd also like to thank each of the citizens here tonight. I hope that you're here to learn about us. I am seeking to be elected your district clerk to complete the unexpired term of Jamie Glover. Experience and knowledge is by far the strongest qualities to possess when asking to be elected district clerk. I have over 30 years experience in the field of law, with 22 of those years in the district clerk's office right here in Palo Pinto County. On November the 1st of 2019, the Honorable Judge Michael Moore appointed me as district clerk. I believe that that is a great testament as to my experience and knowledge of the clerk's office. I have served in every position in the district clerk's office. I've been the child support clerk, the civil clerk, the criminal clerk. I served many years as a chief deputy clerk, and I am now the district clerk. I have vast knowledge and experience of the duties of each of these positions, which allow me to effectively train my staff to fulfill their duties with confidence and professionalism. For myself, I have continued my education, which is within the office, by attending multiple district clerks trainings, schools, and conferences where I have received many certifications. Anyone can read a summary of the district clerk's duties, but that simply will not prepare a person to handle the duties that are required of the district clerk. With my experience of the clerk's office, I am prepared to be your elected district clerk. I'm here tonight asking for your vote and your support. Please allow my experience to continue to work for you. Thank you, and be sure and vote for me on March the 3rd or starting tomorrow with early election. Thank you.
Ms. Jonna?
Good evening, everyone. Before I begin, I'd like to say thank you to Strawn Chamber of Commerce for hosting our event tonight, and also for Susan Hurley for opening your venue to us. I appreciate each and every one of you others for being here as well. My name is Jonna Banks, and I'm running for the office of the Palo Pinto County District Clerk. To tell you a little bit about myself, I'm a third-generation resident of Palo Pinto County. I was born and raised here. I lived in the Santo and Mineral Wells areas as I grew up, and I graduated from Mineral Wells High School with honors in 1983. Then I attended Weatherford College, and I studied elementary education while I was there. My husband, Robert, is a firefighter paramedic, and we have been married for 32 years. We have two wonderful adult children, Jordan, a dental assistant, and Kaylor, the owner of the Banks Media Group, and our son-in-law, Cole, a loan officer. Our family loves spending time together, and I can speak for Robert and I both that we can't wait for our first grandbaby to be born in July. It's such an exciting time for us, and I can't wait to share all that excitement with many of you. I worked in the legal field for 15 years with criminal defense attorneys, prosecutors, and civil law attorneys. When my children were born, I was blessed to get to stay home and raise them for 7 years before Robert and I started our own business, which was an equipment rental business. I have 30 years of volunteer experience with many local organizations, and I know the importance of pouring into the people in my community. I have a servant's heart, and I enjoy serving people. Some of the organizations I've been involved in are Mineral Wells Public Schools, our church, Servant 4-H Club, Palo Pinto County Livestock Show and Sale, Mineral Wells FFA, and Mineral Wells Young Farmers, and I've been honored to serve on many of their respective committees. Through these organizations, I've learned that our voice matters, and if you're like me, you enjoy taking the time to listen to a matter before acting on it. I believe that listening is the key to understanding, and understanding is the key to growth. After Jordan and Kayla were older, I entered back into the workforce with the Palo Pinto County Attorney's Office. I've worked for the last 3 county attorneys, Phil Garrett, Jim Ashby, and I currently work for County Attorney Maegan Kostiha, where I serve the people of Palo Pinto County as our priority. Thank you, and I would appreciate your vote.
Thank you, ladies. Next up, we have our tax assessor collector. A tax assessor collector in Texas has the following duties: calculates property tax rates for the county, collects property taxes for the county, may collect taxes for cities, schools, and other local tax entities, processes motor vehicle title transfers, issues motor vehicle registration and license, may process boat titles and registrations, registers voters and may conduct elections, and collects various other fees for the state and the county. And we've got 2, Ms. Stacie Choate and Stephanie Dunn. Stephanie?
Hello, my name is Stephanie Dunn. I'd like to thank everyone for coming out tonight. I'll talk fast, forgive me, I only have 2 minutes. My name is Stephanie Dunn, and I'm running for the office of Tax Assessor-Collector. I will bring much needed change to the office, and I have the background and the experience to get it done. I have a background in accounting, banking, business, and county government. I'm in the 4th year as the assistant to the Commissioner's Court. Prior to that, I worked for Crawford, Carter & Thompson CPA firm for over 15 years. I came to the county 35 years ago when I married my husband, Michael Dunn. We have 2 adult children and 2 adorable grandsons. At that time, I worked for First State Bank, coming from Azle State Bank. At those banks, I was in charge of their note department, compliance, governmental audits, and instrumental in getting their in-house transaction system started. Also in those 30 years, I've been involved with the family businesses of the Appliance Center, Dunn Electronics and Pawn, and Radio Shack franchise. I believe these past work experiences, along with my managerial skills, my attention to detail, my understanding of the law and how it applies, my ability to work with budgets, and my know-how of the tax rate calculations and the reviewing of the Truth in Taxation report, along with my strong work ethic, make me the best candidate for tax assessor. I'll bring positive and progressive leadership to the office. My resume proves that continuing education is not a problem for me. Currently, you cannot register your boat renewal at the Mineral Wells Annex. You still cannot pay your property tax at the Annex and receive a receipt. I will bring the technology of that office into the 21st century. This current tax office has had the most number of employee turnovers for that office under Ms. Choate's reign. Employees, coworkers, and taxpayers should all be treated with the same amount of respect. My opponent will tell you she has the most experience, but because someone has the most time spent in an office does not make them the best leader. I am a proven leader. I'll always work in the best interest of the citizens of the county. I will make it a point to bring customer service, technology, and all the services of the office to the standards that are expected and deserved. Please watch the Index's Facebook video of the January forum for more details. My name is Stephanie Dunn. I ask for your vote to be the next tax assessor collector, and remember, Dunn will get it done. Thank you.
Stacie?
Good evening. My name is Stacie Choate, and I'm your elected tax assessor collector, and I'm seeking re-election for this position. Thank you all for being here tonight, and thank you to the Strawn Chamber of Commerce and for the Strawn Lexington for hosting this. I began my career in the tax office in 2008 and was trained by my predecessor Daly and type took office in 2017. I hold more certifications than required by the Tax Assessor Collectors Association. Each year, I complete more continuing education that is required, and I work hard to know everything I can to provide the highest level of customer service. Tax Assessor Collector is an important position that ensures the funding of valuable service for our county, state, and especially for you, the taxpayers of Palo Pinto County. It is through the assessment and collection of the taxes that we are able to fund the necessary functions of government, and this job plays a key role. Our office collects taxes for 18 entities, and we mail around 51,000 tax bills annually. Last year, we registered 32,000 vehicles, processed 6,100 title applications, and we titled and registered 1,400 boats. The office staff and I must be current on training, certifications, rules and procedures, for the property tax code, government code, transportation code, and state agency guidelines. In this position, experience matters. As your current tax assessor collector, I am committed to providing the citizens of Palo Pinto County the highest level of professionalism and customer service. It has been my privilege and honor to serve you, and with your vote, I will continue to do so. Thank you again for attending tonight. Voting is such a gift to Americans, and I humbly ask for your vote. When you go to the polls, it's easy to remember, vote Choate.
I won't take the time to read off our county commissioner, precinct 3, or county constable. They both are running unopposed, but I do want to acknowledge that Michael Pierce and Abel Saldana that are both here this evening. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming. We were hoping that our last candidate would come, but apparently Kelly never showed. Susan? No. Okay, so we've got 3 of the 4 representatives here for, or candidates, excuse me, for House District 60. Members of the Texas House of Representatives serve 2 terms and are not subject to term limits. Texas legislators assume office at the beginning of the legislative session in January of each odd year. As of 2010 census, a total of 171,429 civilians reside in the Texas 60th State House District. District 60 covers the following counties in order of their size and their population: Hood, Brown, Palo Pinto, Eastland, Callahan, Stevens, Coleman, and Shackelford. It stretches from Granbury in the east to Clyde in the west, Brownwood in the south to Grayford, Breckenridge, and Albany in the north. Its largest cities are Brownwood, Mineral Wells, and Granbury, but it also includes parts of the Abilene Metroplex as well. Our candidates here this evening are Mr. John Francis, Mr. Christopher Perricone, and Dr. Glenn Rogers. Mr. Perricone?
I shouldn't have brought my hostess with me, but there's still leftovers for y'all to grab some. My name is Christopher Perricone, running for Texas House District 60. You can find out more information about me at ChristopherForTexas.com. That's ChristopherForTexas.com. A little bit of history about me. I started college at 15. My father actually raised me as a single family. I didn't have any single family dad. I didn't have any brothers or sisters. At age 15, I started college, going to Weatherford College, was able to complete a bachelor's degree from Columbia College, Business Administration, 3.9 GPA. Went on to complete a master's degree with 2 concentrations, one in stewardship and the other one in youth ministry. These are just boxes that we check off as people, but the reality is they tell a little bit about the person. For example, I joined the military after I finished playing soccer up in Missouri and went into special ops. I did 2 tours overseas in Iraq as a special operator for the United States Air Force. After coming home from that, I began doing a lot of different entrepreneurial business opportunities, everything from finance to technology to pressure washing, construction, a lot of different jobs. And I actually do have a degree in Series 7 and Series 66. But the one thing I want to press to y'all in the last minute I have is this. Our country and our state is moving away. We talk that we're conservatives, but what are we conserving? I want us to think differently about this because we're not conservative. Our values as conservatives have been completely blown away. We're trying to fight. We need a fighter to go down to Austin to get back the actual conservative principles that we have been standing for. And I believe that I am the best person to do that. I have a track record as being mayor of Mineral Wells, Texas, where not only trying to end abortion, but providing plans that would eliminate our property taxes, which I do believe are unconstitutional, as well as dealing with the Second Amendment to make sure we can have constitutional carry. And governance can be done from the lowest level up. Now, the power resides in the state. If you send me down to Austin as your state rep, I will be very attentive to the details that need to be done, and y'all will have a strong fighter that will advocate to move the needle further to the right so that we can get back to being true conservatives. Thank you. I'm Christopher Perricone. I need your vote.
Mr. Francis?
My name is John Francis, and I'm running to be your state representative in Austin. I'm a man of faith, I'm a conservative, and I'm a Republican, and it's in that exact order. I didn't get into this race until after our current representative, Mike Lang, decided to get out. He's a good man, good conservative, and quite frankly, this district is one of the most conservative districts in the entire state of Texas, and I'm extraordinarily proud of that. The reason that I'm running is that I want to make sure that we have a representative in Austin that is going to represent our values and be willing to stand up and fight for those values. I'm a solid conservative. I'm a businessman. I've never run for office before. My wife and I have lived in Cisco, Texas. That's our home. It's where we've raised our 4 children. It's where our children go to school. And you know, quite frankly, this period of time that we're in right now, for the next 2 weeks, is what's affectionately known as the mudslinging period of time. And we're about to enter it. And I just had the thought this week that I would remind everyone about what I had always taught my 4 children, and that is this. If you're telling a half-truth, you're telling a full lie. And I trust the voters, I trust citizens, and I just understand that if you have all the information, you can make an excellent decision. And I'm so very proud to tell you that I have consistent positions. I'm a conservative. You can take it to the bank. And by the way, these public forums that we've had are all online. They're easily accessible on Facebook and other areas. And I want to let you know that you should go and you should educate yourself because the positions are clear. I am the conservative in this race. The Austin lobby has their candidate in this race, and it ain't me. And I would like to ask you for not only your vote, I would like to ask you to go gather up all the other conservatives in your world and encourage them to vote along with you. Thank you. I'm John Francis.
Dr. Rogers?
Good evening. I appreciate the opportunity to visit with y'all. The future of our country and Texas depends on rural conservative values. I believe in the conservative values of limited government, both federal and state, and local control. To keep rural Texas and rural America strong, we must focus on the issues that affect strong Texas each and every day. Public education, healthcare, and economic development. I'm Dr. Glenn Rogers, and I want to be your next state representative. My core beliefs, career, and broad leadership experiences make me uniquely qualified to serve in this position. I'm staunchly pro-life, an adamant defender of the Second Amendment, and opposed to all illegal immigration. I'm a veterinarian and rancher. My family has been ranching in Palo Pinto County since the 1890s, and I've been operating a ranch for 40 years. My wife, Mandy, is also a veterinarian. I have 4 children and 5 grandchildren. I owned and operated a rural veterinary practice for 11 years, spent 9 years as a university educator, and 12 years as a consultant in the animal health business. I served in leadership positions on a local, state, and national basis, and in my church. Most recently, I served as president of a national organization that served over 5,000 cow doctors. And it was through that experience and several trips to Washington that convinced me that I needed to both serve and defend rural Texas. If you look at the areas of greatest support for the Republican Party and President Trump, it's in rural America. The future of the party, the ability to elect strong leaders, and the future of this great state depend on communities like Strawn, Texas. When elected, my top priority will always be to serve the underrepresented needs of this town, this district, and rural Texas. Thank you.
Thank you so much for to all the candidates for coming and sharing your insights so that the voters can make their best decision. Again, thank you to the Strawn Chamber of Commerce for organizing tonight's meet and greet. If you're interested in joining the chamber, membership forms are over there available. Please mingle with your candidates, enjoy refreshments for the remainder of the evening, and again, we thank everybody for coming.
Proud Father's Week.